2015, the Ruuby app launched.
Yeah.
I mean, this was pre-Uber. Where do you even begin?
That time I was, working in an office from, whatever time to whatever time, therefore never had time to do any treatments. I don't like conformity. The idea of doing, A plus B plus C never really appealed. I thought, okay, this is it. Let's create an app.
Venetia Archer is the founder and CEO of Ruuby, the UK's leading beauty and wellness concierge. A Forbes 30 under 30 entrepreneur, she's redefining self-care with on-demand services, the ultimate Uber for beauty.
You worked in intelligence and geopolitical risk.
This was back in 2012, just graduating from a UK university, thrown in to Somalia to find out more on the ground about what was going on with these pirate gangs.
What was the biggest challenge then, bringing the tech to such a high-end kind of luxury service?
You only ever hear the LinkedIn story of we've raised £5 million and how exciting is all of this? You don't see the 200 emails and the 200 calls and the 200 emails back that said, sorry, we don't believe your business can scale.
Yeah. Where do you think the future of this business is going? Where's the next territory for you?
So we have about 2,500 therapists on the platform now, and we are so proud to say.
So I was researching you last night and this morning, and one thing that struck out for me was something that you used to do pre the Ruuby app. And I thought, okay, before we get into what Ruuby's all about and everything, let's discuss some of your early life and early career almost.
Yeah.
You worked in intelligence and geopolitical risk.
Yes.
And I was like, what's this? So
yeah. Oh my gosh. So I know everyone's always hold on, take two. What? You do Ruuby and that's what you used to do. But so after university, I studied international relations, and, I was young. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And so I was offered this job at a private security firm, and I specialized, and found myself specializing in maritime security and Somali piracy. So this was back in 2012 kind of thing, when Somali piracy was,
We're talking Captain Phillips
We're
stuff.
talking Captain Phillips, exactly. We're talking about people hijacking ships on the coast of East Africa. So I fell deeply into that world, and obviously it was, hugely interesting and adventurous and exciting, and decided that, I was young in my early 20s, that it would be a great idea to move to Kenya to get even closer to the action and find out more on the ground about what was going on with these pirate gangs. So I did that for a few years, and it was, amazing, right? An amazing lens of the world to see and to do, and, being that age, there's no such thing as fear. So, and I loved adventure. I never wanted to kind of conform. I found the idea of, other work kind of boring. So I just fell into it and loved it. But then after a time, I sort of grew up a little bit, I'd say, and realized I need to go back to London. I need to go home. This is probably not going to be this isn't how I envisage, my longer term. So I came back to London and then continued that for a little while, that kind of industry, that sort of work for a while. And then really had this feeling bubbling away at me that I wanted to do something on my own. I wanted to build a business and build something that I kind of came up with, and then that was when I kind of came up with the idea of Ruuby, and this whole next chapter sort of started.
So have you always been entrepreneurial, or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I sort of mentioned, I don't like conformity. The idea of doing, A plus B plus C never really appealed, and I think that was always, part of the way that I kind of lived and grew up. I was always entrepreneurial, from a child. You hear it a lot with entrepreneurs. They set up businesses. They were selling stuff to their friends, to their, whatever it was. I was on eBay. I was doing all that stuff as a kid who had access to the internet. So yes, I think have been creative in that sense. But this was my first real kind of foray into entrepreneurship at the ripe old age of 26.
I know. So 2015.
Yeah.
The Ruuby app launched.
Yeah.
At that time, I mean, this was pre-Uber. This is pre, the service-led apps as we know it today.
Yes.
So was there anything in that space that was doing anything like this at the time?
So Uber and Deliveroo had like just come, and I just thought these things were amazing. Like, loved the convenience, the ease, everything. And so it just resonated with me. There was also something very early that never took off that I was obsessed with, and I was probably the only user of it. But now you've got iterations of it. But basically, you'd order anything that you wanted to your house. So, dare I say it, like a pack of ciggies back when I was, 18 or whatever. And or older than that. But that sort of thing, it felt so natural. And being in a busy city with no time, I thought about applications and thought, well, beauty. And at that time I was, working, in an office from, whatever time till whatever time, and therefore never had time to do any treatments. And so that all fused together in my mind, and I thought, okay, this is it. Let's create an app. Let's create an app for this, so it was that moment, and then I just went kind of full steam ahead.
Yeah, were you daunted at the time, thinking, how do I put this together? Like, where do you even begin? You've got this idea for a beauty concierge, this luxury service-led application.
Yes.
I think you were your own customer, probably customer number one, which always helps.
Totally.
So, and you think, yeah, well, I would definitely use a service like that. I'm busy, I'm in the office, or like I'm at home, you can't get ready or whatever.
Yeah. So I think, off the back of that being that first kind of customer, I didn't wait, not like this is wasting time, but I didn't spend all this time doing
market research.
Yeah,
who
I
does?
thought, no, it's obvious. Like, this is clearly a good idea. And with the, were you daunted? Like, I wasn't. Like, would I be daunted now? Like, let's say I had the idea now and it was that. But I mean, I would be absolutely, I might not even have done it, right? I might not even do it today. But I think at that age, and also after having done what I did, which was like being thrown, just graduating from a UK university, like thrown in to Somalia, like find out what the pirate gang's doing. I'd been trained to make something out of nothing, or to figure out something off the basis of like a very limited knowledge. So
very interesting, because I feel like at the same, I wasn't dealing with Somali pirates, but I was in the journalism industry, having to knock on doors and find a story out of nothing.
Yes.
And that kind of training gives you a different level of, fuck, I can get this done, no matter what. And I am exactly the same in the fact that knowing what I know now about what's happened in the last 4.5 years, would I have still done it? The beauty is, in the beginning, the naivety.
Totally.
And that is one of the best things.
Totally. And like the mental, like the way that I've got through it mentally, which I actually find harder now than I did back then, was like, about goalposts, you've got to achieve one thing. So in the next like week or 2 weeks or whatever, I need to achieve one thing. We need to solve this problem. And then it's the next one, and then it's the next one, and then it's the next one. Because if you think about the whole thing all in, it's like, whoa, that's never going to happen. And so I try and get back to that. But then the problem is, obviously, as the business has evolved and got so much bigger, I mean, there's not just one thing. There's like 500,000 things. So,
that all need your attention all at the same time. And one thing can't happen without the other, and you need to get sign off from this person and this person. And then you're going around the houses and email chains, and I'm just like, when the fuck did it get so? I look back at like year one, and think I loved it.
Oh my gosh, I was laughing with a friend of mine because I used to have so much time in year one. I remember I just go and sit with my friend. It's not like I wasn't doing anything, but there just wasn't as much to do, right? There wasn't as much to do, and so I just like potter around in the afternoons, hanging out, and then now it's like every minute is scheduled.
Is accounted for.
Yeah.
I feel you so much. I really do. So, okay, so you've got this idea, you're getting it ball rolling. Like, what was the biggest challenge then, bringing like the tech to such a high-end kind of like luxury service?
So, I mean, we like the tech is still like a work in progress. I always say, if we could have a team of 20 developers, we would, and they would still they would have a full-time job. It's a constant iteration and improvement. So, but that was really hard. I think that we had there was a degree of leniency because we weren't so accustomed to perfect, and so we managed, there are things that didn't work, et cetera, but people kind of didn't mind. And we also, would cover that by the human element of sorting out people's bookings, right? Yeah. Behind the scenes if it needed to happen. So, but it was a lot. It was a lot to build a marketplace, a two-sided marketplace, customers, therapists, if someone wants a manicure at home at 7 a.m., being able to fulfill that. I mean, it was it was very complex, but I think, it was just very, very patient. I didn't have super high expectations. I was really happy. I didn't worry that we had like a booking a day. I knew, I was like, this is what I'm building. This is my life. This is everything. And we will continue to get there. We'll continue to break each door down as it comes. And so I think that that mental state helped because it was a slow start, but I mean, it's just, very different story
How
today.
do you like vet the therapists and things like that?
So we have about 2,500 therapists on the platform now, and we are so proud to say that we vet every single one. So we meet every single person that comes on to Ruuby, and we have our Ruuby standards. So we test them for etiquette, for technical, for manner, all of those sorts of things that are crucial in a home service. It's not just about the perfectly applied manicure.
Well, this is the thing. They're going into you don't want somebody turning up looking scruffy, not good at their job, and they're going into somebody that's like house. And...
Exactly. It's a tough gig, right? They're going to 6, 7, 8 people per day, different parts of the city, whatever city they might be in, and they've got to look polished and groomed, at every appointment. And so that we've really invested in our time. It's also part of like our ethos. We really the team is it's predominantly made up of women. We love high quality beauty services. We care about what polish people use. We care about what the latest and greatest, eyebrow pencil is. And that's like feeds in. So, yes, it's a tech platform that you can book home services, but it's so much more than that. It's really like the tech enables this like in real life human experience that we love to design.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can say I got zhuzhed up today.
Yes.
Fully by the Ruuby app.
Beautiful.
So Dom I did a little reel of it, which I'll post later.
Yeah.
But Dom came to my hotel room this morning, did my hair
oh my gosh.
and my makeup, and sat chatting to him for like an hour and a half about the products he likes, you know what I mean, like his experience and everything like that. He was telling me like it's all his life.
Yeah.
So I'm 16, he's been doing hair and makeup. And he gave me loads of ideas for new makeup that I should be buying and stuff like that. And it's that kind of level of expertise as well.
Totally. I was probably doing my hair at the same time. Yeah. Like I'm so last minute, even like 9 o'clock last night. I'm like, oh my gosh, hair 7 a.m. Boom.
Yeah.
So no, it's great, and we do have like the most amazing people. Like I love this community that we've built.
Yeah, and I was out last night with 3 of the girls from Selfridges Personal Shopping. They use the Ruuby app for Ascot.
Yes.
So it's really good for events, things like that.
Totally. I mean, Ascot it's like one of the busiest weeks of the year. Like it's for us, it's like our Black Friday because, everyone needs their hair done at home. It's huge.
Do you keep it in London or do you go to send people to Ascot to hotel rooms up there?
Everything, all of the above, everywhere, anywhere and
you're just like, we can make it happen.
Yeah, we can make it happen. Honestly, like this morning, I'm looking in our Slack, like our, internal like business chat. And like I'm seeing pictures like the girls getting blow dries on the tube. I'm not even joking. It's just it's a campaign that we're doing, but it's like, that's what we do. Like anywhere you want it, whatever time you want it, we'll get there. We'll do it for you.
How did the business grow? Was it word of mouth or have you done advertising, loads of marketing? What was the growth plan?
So initially there was a lot of word of mouth, and even still now it is. It's like you and your girlfriends, let's say they hadn't heard about Ruuby, boom, like that's, they're seeing your hair and saying, oh, I want that. So there's a lot of word of mouth. But also it was, the very early days of Instagram. And so we did some, with influencers, and like that just, the impact that had was so significant that, it was quite it was a bit of a hack, if things, if Instagram had that impact these days, it'd be a different story. But I think we're really lucky on that side of things. And, also, we always have always focused on brand, on that kind of tangible element of what Ruuby is, always done partnerships or introduced new kinds of services and things that people might not otherwise have. So, really trying to build that story ourselves and bringing the community to us. And I think that's helped. But then along the way, we've done, bigger things, whether it be tube and bus campaigns, TV, celebrity, that sort of thing. So it's kind of it's evolved for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, I first heard about it when I texted one of my friends. It must have been last year. And she was like, so I was like, where can I get a blow dry in London? Like struggling. I was on Treatwell, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, try the Ruuby app.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So, and I was like, right, okay then. That was the first time I'd ever heard about it. And then I obviously met you in Manchester when you were, because you've just launched in Manchester, haven't you?
We just launched in Manchester.
And how's that going?
Yeah. It's great. I mean, it's just, it's such, we've been in Manchester for a while, but we just gave it a real new boost, brought new therapists on. And so it's going, it's going amazingly well. There's a different, whenever I go to Manchester, I'm like, oh my gosh, Venetia, level up, no scruffy London here. So, it's a hub for beauty.
Well, that's the thing. It's very different. I mean, Liverpool's again.
Totally.
Totally different. I mean, Dom this morning, he was like, I love Liverpool, go a lot. And I was like, I know, well, that's a city that was built on curly blows.
Yeah, totally.
And girls do not care. They will get their hair done.
Yeah.
They walk around with rollers all day.
Yeah.
They'll get their tan done. Saturday morning, they are absolutely done.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And there's no city like it.
It's fabulous. It's totally fabulous, you know. I love it. And in London, you get different trends in different places. So, what people are booking in Switzerland and the south of France is different to what they're booking in London and Manchester. And I love seeing that, seeing those trends and how people consume Ruuby because, you can go on it, you can book, anything under the sun basically. So to see what people are drawn to in different markets is very interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So obviously you just mentioned there, so you're in Switzerland, you're in the south of France. Do you do things like IV drips? Could you get that to your yacht?
We do IV drips to the yacht, yes. I mean, so some of the crazy stuff like over the summer is, we're so in the south of France.
Yeah.
So, we're like, we need like 10 IV drips like immediately.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Everyone's hungover.
Everyone's hungover, and so you've got these therapists on, a little boat going up to the super yacht. We're getting this content of them. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I hope nothing goes wrong. But it's there's a lot of like comedy. There's a lot of comedy behind the scenes around all this stuff that we're doing,
Yeah.
Like if we had just a snapshot of everything that was going on in the world of Ruuby right now, I think it would be,
You should maybe start a docuseries, put it on YouTube.
Yeah. Someone was saying that the other day.
You should.
There's just, and you forget what's weird and what's absurd.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like, I'll tell my partner like what happened to me. He's like, oh my gosh.
The thing is, I'm so actually busy doing the shit.
Yes.
Right. I absolutely hate LinkedIn. Everyone's like, you need to be on LinkedIn more. And I'm like, why? It's absolute shit on
me
there.
too.
Just a cesspool
Me
of
too.
AI-written drivel and
I'm like,
tripe.
come on. If you're going to use AI, like at least give it the prompt, make this sound like less AI or like don't use your obvious,
And then as soon as
emojis.
it gets posted, you get about 10 AI comments.
Yeah.
So I don't post anything. And anything I do, I write myself. And you can tell a mile away it's written by me.
I can't really bear it. Everyone is always in the team like, Venetia, come on, do more, do more. And, so I get these like spouts, bursts of like putting, something that, I'm like, no one really cares about, or at least
I would just really make it really raw, lo-fi. If to make a wave on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I actually thought about this morning because I just read so much tripe with these little stupid arrows.
I know.
Oh, fuck
everything.
off.
It's like, come on. Come on. The problem, that's like the dumbing down. It's just dumber.
I know. So I've just thought, no, I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to write it 100% myself and make it raw, lo-fi, just like 365 days. This is the reality of what I go through every day.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would get
that.
more engagement than any of this nonsense that we see in.
Definitely. But now you're seeing like Substack, like this like longer film, like we're going back into blogging and you can't hack that now. So it's interesting seeing how things are evolving. I mean, I love X now or Twitter. Like that's like everyone's like, "What, you're on that?" I'm like, "Yeah." That's my social media of
the day.
I mean, I don't post on it. Like I'm not posting stuff, but I find it interesting to consume the content on that. Like I won't go on LinkedIn,
No, I can't bear it.
No.
I really can't bear it. As soon as I go in, I just want to like throw up as soon as I open it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, horrendous.
Yeah.
So where do you think like the future of this business is going? Is it going to be, obviously you want to expand territories. So where's the next territory for you?
So we're launching in the UAE in October. So that's like a month away. So we're like full steam ahead on getting Dubai and Abu Dhabi up and running, which I'm, incredibly excited about. It's a region that I've always wanted to go into. I think it's like such a great home for Ruuby. And so, right now it's that like very messy, like it feels startup-y again, moment of like building the team, figuring out the problems. And it's like it's not like the most straightforward market to go into. But
what are the challenges with the UAE?
I mean, so in terms of kind of, so Switzerland, for example, everything is so like regimented, orderly, clear. You do that, do it this way, don't do it this way, etc. It was like very, 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 very clear. Whereas in the UAE, so, the rules and regulations around like self-employed freelancers are evolving. So I would even, I reached out to like 5 lawyers who were introduced to me. And once I sent them the brief, they just went
not for
dark.
us.
Well, because no one knows the answers. So no one knows the answers because it's like a new kind of industry and a new kind of model of business that we're
And is there a lot of
doing.
cultural differences with people going into like homes and things like that?
All of those sorts of things. So you can't have like a male doing a treatment on a female and vice versa. So ensuring that the system supports that separation. So a lot, right? And it will be a very, very different kind of, platform to what it is in the UK. And we're also like really leaning into like very experiential moments. So very long treatments for groups.
Right.
So people who, just spending the afternoon at home and want like a 2-hour ritual. It'll be very, very spa-like, as well as your like quick and easy treatments as well. But we've spent a lot of time like designing something quite, appropriate for the market.
I feel like the price point as well in Dubai could be so much higher. I was talking to the girls last night and they were telling me about a facial. And I'm like, what? And they were like, no, it's amazing. I was like, okay. So I'm Googling it as they're telling me. And it was £1,500.
No way.
And I was like, there's nothing you could do to my face topically that would warrant that price ever. And she's like, oh no, she does like Kim Kardashian, she does this. I was like, I'm sorry, but no. I'm sorry, that's insanity. But 60 minutes.
But there is this extraordinary world. There's an extraordinary world of all of that. And it's, the therapists who, no one can book with that they want access to, or, like the best manicurist, there's someone that we know of, it's £600 a mani, and everyone wants an appointment because it's the best 1.5-hour manicure you could ever have.
So what makes it the best? It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's totally crazy. But people love beauty. People become obsessed. It's like with fashion. People will lust after the bag or the shoes or the jacket or whatever it might be, and you've got that like cult around the beauty industry, but also around specialists, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I really saw that with like Harriet Westmoreland with her manis. Yeah. You couldn't book her at all. Yeah. And they were like £200, £300, £400 a manicure.
Yeah. I mean, but she started that whole movement of like the celebrity nail tech, I think, in the UK. We did a residency with her in Switzerland, and we're about to do one with her in the UAE because we just like love what she's able to do. And it's like it's the new status symbol.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
her cuticle work is amazing. The girl who does mine, she trained with her.
Yeah.
So it's as good as I'm getting up in Liverpool.
Absolutely.
But yeah, she's brilliant. And again, it's all about that really in-depth macro lens, almost like cuticle work. That's like
totally.
It's 2 hours though.
For me, that's like I love Harriet. I love all of it. Yeah. Yes, for someone else, I can't even get my eyelashes done.
Same,
because I just can't lie down for an hour and a half.
So what I do, this is my tactic. So because I can't bear not being able to use my hands or
too.
text or email for 2 hours. I can't just relax. It
totally
pisses me
horrific.
off. So I always say to her, she probably knows my business better than anybody because I say, I'm going to take some calls if you don't mind.
Yes.
So I do loads of calls and Zooms while my hands are getting done. At least I can carry on.
100%. 100%. You have to.
It's that productivity stacking constantly.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you've partnered with, like, when I was researching this last night, like Claridge's, Bulgari, the Berkeley. What does it take to get that level of like brand trust? Especially in the beginning when you were like kind of like new startup.
Definitely. I mean, and then there's always like that initial sell, right? You know, and that's always going to come from the founder. So like I lived and breathed it and was like totally focused on, you know, every detail and had that like, you know, microscopic involvement. And so it was being like very, very involved, being involved in the pitching and ensuring that things were being done in the right way. And then, you know, you build a reputation. And so we do a lot of work with luxury brands. We send therapists, you know, around the world with, you know, whether it be with Tiffany and Samaritz or, you know, McLaren in Monaco. We do all of this fabulous stuff behind the scenes. And I think that, you know, it's about that quality and providing that, you know, really, really, really stellar quality, you know, for these kinds of activations. And it's a really important part of the business. You know, we do, you know, a lot of the stuff, you know, I always say like everyone knows about us for the app and booking the, you know, your treatment at home. But there's this huge infrastructure underneath, you know, with all of these therapists and individuals who can supply services. And the end customers are not just individuals, but the hospitality sector, the event sector, luxury, jewelry, etc. So that's been a really interesting part of the business that's evolved recently.
Have you ever had one of those like moments where you're like, oh my God, let's say you've committed to an event, Halloween or whatever, or it might be McLaren or whatever it might be, and you're like, oh my God, and like, I don't know, something's really gone, like, you're like, oh my God, what's going on?
All the time. All the time.
Like swans swimming on the water.
All the time.
Pedaling underneath.
It's horrific. Like, you know, because also when people are booking this stuff, it's like a bride. You know, I remember, you know, I'll never forget the fact that a makeup artist didn't turn up for this bride, you know, and she's like there waiting and you know, it's like, it's those moments. Like, it's not just like your cheeseburger didn't show up.
Yeah.
It's, you know, when people are booking Ruuby, you know, often it's for something really important. So yes, or, you know, the therapist, you know, like, dare I say it, like as a French, you know, turn up smelling like ciggies. No. You know, it's all those little micro details that you know, so many things can go wrong. So yes, it happens all the time. And, you know, we've just got very good at like fixing things fast, right?
I know, it must be scary.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got really high expectations.
Definitely.
And like,
definitely.
I mean, I'm hardly getting into, I don't really get into the customer emails anymore, but sometimes I have a quick dip in there and see what like.
You just can't.
Yeah. I can't be across everything, and that's just one place that I just don't. But some of the attitude on people.
Oh, for sure.
For God's
for
sake,
sure.
it's absolutely dreadful, isn't it?
Yeah. We get a lot.
And a lot of the things, it's out of your control.
100%.
If it was in my control, it wouldn't go wrong.
100%.
It's when I use a third party, like the post system.
Totally. And also, you know, and this is what I say, because so we've got our concierge team who are like front line, like dealing with therapists, dealing with the customers. I always say to everyone, like, they have the hardest job of anybody. And, you know, and the problem is it's really hard. Like, if something has gone wrong, you know, it's loud. It's loud. Everyone hears it, you know, and so it can make things feel bad. But then I'm also like, there's all of that science around things that have gone really well. So we now like to make us, you know, we look at like the KPIs, like what percentage of, you know, customers were unhappy. And it's a really small percentage, right? So, you know, you have to kind of get that, like take that step outwards to get a little bit of perspective on it sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, to grow the business, you did some fundraising recently. How did that go? I'm always interested to hear people's like funding journeys.
Totally. I mean, fundraising, you know, I mean, it's just, it's so hard. It's like one of the hardest things, I think. Like I love being on the business. I love doing Ruuby. I love building it. I love growing it. I love
the vision,
the team, the vision. Yeah. And then you've got this whole extra layer, like you got to get out of that. You can't do your day to day. You've got to like think, okay, you know, and the academic exercise around it. How much money do you want to raise? What do we want to spend it on? How are we going to pitch this to these investors? You know, it's a real undertaking.
Yeah, and jumping on Zoom, talking to them all the time, and then they're asking tricky questions. Yeah. Well, what about this? What if TikTok goes down? And what about this? And you're just like, oh, for fuck.
Yes, do you know, I had a pitch. I haven't pitched for so long. I mean, so long, like we raised last year, so long this morning. But you know, you get better at it. But yeah, it was funny to put like that hat back on. But we've raised £5 million over the past few years. We did our biggest round last year with an institutional investor, and it's like ups and downs. You only ever hear the LinkedIn story of like, we've raised £5 million, and how exciting is all of this? And you do not see the year that it took for them to raise that money. You don't see the sleepless nights, the cash balance going to like minus whatever it is. You don't see the 200 emails and the 200 calls and the 200 emails back that have said, sorry, like, we don't believe your business can scale.
Yeah.
Sorry, whatever.
Or the due diligence that's like
all
exhausting.
The due diligence. I mean, like, the due diligence, I remember last year, like when I was pregnant, like I was so pregnant. And I just like, all I can think of last year is like I had like in my bedroom, like I was just, no, it wasn't last year, it was a year before. Like it was my baby's a year old. But I just sat in the corner and I was just sat on my computer, like, and I was just like, and all I'd get is these like emails with like 50 people, like all the lawyers, all the people, all this. And it's like, sorry, can you fill in this extra like 500 Excel spreadsheet? And like one line of the 500 line things was like, put all of your B2B contracts. I'm like, oh my God, that's like one of 500. Like, it was just this like intense exercise. And I hate that. Like, I hate that. Like,
do you believe in the business or not? That's literally what it's going to boil down to. Yeah. Yes, have a look at the P&Ls. Yes, you can see. But essentially, do you have a gut feeling this business? For me personally, I would 1,000,000% invest in a business like that. I know this market. Yeah. I know I would use it. Yeah. And I know all my friends would use it. Yeah. So for me, no brainer. And then as long as everything stacks up in the back end, great.
Yeah, but it's like when you get to that institutional level and like it's all, that's just like
a lot of it is just people who fucking work there trying to justify their job.
Yeah.
All of that like backwards and forwards nonsense, I feel a lot of the time.
Yes.
Making sure that they've covered their arse and checked every single mortal thing.
Yeah, and it's tricky. It's very tricky. And that's, and that's the thing. It's like you've seen the business evolve and grow up. Like I love chapter one. I love like being a like bloody, empty like Word doc, like heaven. This is grittier, right? And so, I love what we've built. I love what we've achieved. I love, that we've created this movement that has like in its own way shaped culture at a time. But I've recognized what I'm really good at. And so, I mean, I'm still like living and breathing it. But now I'm like, okay, like I'm going to get my joy. Like I'm not going to get my joy from the contracts.
Doing that, no.
But I'm going to get my joy from starting Dubai. Like, and I do. I go there. I'm like, hi, meet everyone. Like we've got 0 therapists. Oh, and then we've got 10. Oh, and then we've got 20. And then, when it starts, and I get like, so we launched Switzerland and we've got this like agent booking bot thing that tells us when we've had bookings come through, and I just see I see it flashed. I'm like, oh, there's that dopamine hit, And then when I see our little like we call him Rupert, like Rupert is our bookings bot, Rupert UAE. When I see that flash, it's those things. So I think like yes, there's all of the hard stuff, but then like fine, make sure there's enough of the good stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So the problem is, isn't it? And I'm at this point now where I need to find somebody to pick up that stuff.
Yes.
Because I'm just not interested. I'm exactly like you. I like concepting. I like new product development. I like design. I like marketing.
Yeah.
I love all that big picture, big visionary stuff. And I've got less inclination for analytics data, sitting there dealing with a spreadsheet and whatever. I'm like, just tell me the top lines. If everything going in the right direction, great. Let's crack on. But unfortunately, because we've got such a small team, there's only 3 of us.
Yeah. You're not there yet.
No, but I'm looking to hire somebody that's maybe, I don't know, like a mini MD or an operations.
Definitely. For me, it was game changing. Like
really?
A game changing hire a few years ago. Yes. So she's amazing. We work so well together. Ex-Uber, these sort of kind of logistics sort of tech businesses. And being able to have someone who does the stuff that, it's the perfect marriage, right? Because, they take the stuff that you just can't do, don't want to do, and then you're empowered to do the more visionary, buildy, growth, creative stuff. So I wish I did it earlier.
I feel now, so I've hired a recruitment specialist to try and find me an A-team person.
Totally.
But it almost like, they were like, we're going to come back to you for 6 candidates. But I always feel like I've got to sell myself to them because if they're good, they could probably go anywhere.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's like selling them the vision. Like, oh, you're going to be on this journey with me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And you want them. Like, the worst thing is bringing someone on board and then they leave and it's like all that knowledge that's gone, all of that energy that's kind of gone. It's, it's so important. Hiring is the most important part of building any business, I think.
Especially when you're really next to them and they've got to be right next to you all the way through these big decisions.
Totally.
And it's probably the difference between being a nice little lifestyle brand into something different.
Yes. And then also like there are these like there was a moment in time for us when the team that we'd built wasn't like, it was the team for then, but it's not the team for now. And actually, like, it'd be really nice to be able to turn a blind eye and just like, okay, like, we're fine. Or you have to take the really, really like hard decision that we're going to need to change the whole thing up. And that delays progress, obviously, because of the huge change. But also, it's uncomfortable. But you've got to be uncomfortable. You've got to go through those periods of discomfort and like taking a knife to things in order to evolve and adapt. And that's again, that's something that we've had to do. And as we come out the other side and feel really excited for the next phase.
Yeah, and it's just business.
It's just business.
It's just the business has got to survive and you've just got to get it moving. And now you've got investors in. They're going to want to see growth. They're going to want to see particular KPIs every single year. They're going to want to,
Totally.
I always think like when you get investors, it's like the fox is in the hen house now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You've got to keep them off your back.
Exactly.
By showing them how you're growing, how you're improving the business, and
Yeah. And it changes things. It changes things again. Like you've got people to answer to. You're stressed out. You want.
It's almost like you've got a boss when you've never had one before.
But actually, it's not a bad thing. It's no bad thing. It's no bad thing.
If they're a good strategic partner, I think it can be amazing because they can. I don't know. They bring a different level of expertise that they can help you with, plus obviously some cash.
Exactly. And also, it's like they're actually. My investors are my partners. They're here. We all hold equity in the business. We all want this thing to succeed. Like, they have confidence in me. They've, put their, money behind me.
Definitely.
And believe it. And so I think really understanding, like, we're totally all, like, on the same team. They're not, my adversaries. And having that mindset is very empowering.
Do they let you just, like, get on with it?
Yeah, they do. They do.
They don't really get involved in like, maybe we think about this, or really ultra long board meetings.
No, but I mean, I think, I've really like learned how to, and I'm still learning, how to lead on those meetings and, be super prepared and brief everyone a little bit in advance, no surprises. But, I think our investors, they're really aligned, like we're all really aligned, right? It's not... we don't have these like when I said we've got to launch Dubai, like this is the opportunity.
Someone's going to do it.
This
if we
is how
don't
we can
it.
do it. Exactly. And everyone's like, great, off you go. I'm like, okay.
Right, let's make this happen.
Yeah, okay. And then I have to go, and then I'm like, oh my gosh. And always there's that feeling after the board meeting of like, yes, boom, yes. And then it's like, oh shit, now we've got some work to do, you know?
I mean, I don't know how you've got time for this, but you're a mum of 2 as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've got 2 girls.
I've got 2 adorable little girls.
Yeah. Do you ever worry? I know I feel like this, like I get mum guilt all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. I miss all the, like she's got a childminder who takes her out all day, and I get constant updates of them flower picking, down at the farm. Yeah. They're doing this, they're at the play area. They're like the most amazing days. And I'm just so grateful that she's got that and she's doing that with one-to-one attention. But fucking hell, I wish it was me.
I know. I feel the guilt all the time. And, you do, right? Like, because you're out, you're out working and everything. And like, what makes me feel, I've come to terms with it though. I don't feel as bad as I did. And the reason behind that is because it's like yesterday, it was my little daughter, like she's going to school. She's 4, she's about, to start schools. And it was her, I was like, okay, I'll go, like we went and did the uniform together. And, if there are these moments, like I will just, and I have the flexibility just to do that. So, I'm there in the mornings, I'm there in the evenings. It's and so I think if you're able to give yourself that space for the flexibility, it's okay. But it's hard because sometimes the business is like completely all consuming. And my problem is it's like I might be home, but like is my head home? So, and that's the worst. Like that's the worst. It's better not to be home than not to be home, but not present. And, I can find, like if I'm in a really stressful like state at work, that's, I'm like on my phone and I'm like, so that's my big thing that I've recognized is, can't happen. And so like, we just went on holiday for a week and it was just heaven. So, building that time and space in, I think is really crucial.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's so hard. Like give me a mom, like a working mom who's like, oh, it's great. You see these like nice, pretty, pictures and stories. Like everyone is like all over the place. It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
It is. It's so difficult.
Yeah.
But I constantly feel that. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm missing out on all these things. I'm never getting this time back. I'll never get to do this again.
Yeah.
And for what?
Yeah.
For a business that like may or may not be life-changing at some point.
Yeah.
It better fucking had to be. I'm swearing a lot today. But but it better be
of course.
A life-changing moment in my life that made it worth it. And if it wasn't, then, and that's why when I'm dealing with some of the rubbish that I'm dealing with, like the compliance issues and this, and I'm like,
it's that
I
stuff.
almost feel like that threat. Do you know what I mean? And I'll go really in. I'm like, you're literally taking me away. All this nonsense that I'm dealing with, you're literally taking away and stealing these hours away from my little girl here.
And that's the thing. And I think that when you have children, it's that perspective. It's like, like before, it's like I'll work all hours of the night, whatever. It doesn't really matter. My time is, it is what it is. Whereas actually, one, you've got less time, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't, for me, I can't start work until like 8 or 9. It's not like before I'd wake up at 5. I'm like,
I know.
You can't do. And then same with the evenings. And then so you don't want to be wasting your time. And it's like if you're wasting an hour like chatting shit or dealing with, it's like it's not worth it. But I think that's good. Like I've become so much better at prioritizing what I'm doing, and ensuring that I'm not micromanaging the team, so that I can spend more time with my children or doing stuff that's really valuable. So I don't feel like I'm like, treading water.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Like it's hard. It's so
There's no right or wrong answer.
But also it's not forever as well. I think that like we're in the like trickiest, it's the trickiest now. The children are little, life is busier than it's ever been. But then it'll quieten down. And I think like, there are these kind of phases to it, and if the gas needs to come off the pedal a little bit on work, like fuck it, doesn't matter, it's going to be fine. You can push it back up when it can, like if you're thinking in the long term. And I just think, like we're talking about the productivity, like there is, we do feel like we have to be doing so much all the time, and I think like figuring out how we can move away from that, that's the dream.
Definitely. That is very, very good advice. Okay, so we're gonna have to wrap up shortly. I can't believe it's gone very quickly.
Me too.
Yeah. I don't know how long we've been talking for, actually. What time did we start? About 1-ish, 5+1.
3 minutes.
Okay, not too bad then. Kelly was like, be tight on your timings. But so I've got a few more questions just to get into. So what's something about your day-to-day life that would surprise people?
Okay, so I spend a lot of it walking. So I think for me, like one of those, important parts is like slowing down the mind. And for me, walking is my like great peace, moment of peace. So, I'll between meetings, I'll be walking, and I might be working while walking, but like if I haven't done like 15,000 steps a day, I don't feel good. But it makes me feel, because my mind is so busy all the time. It's always so hectic. It's the only thing that calms me down. Yoga does as well, but I don't know. I'm like more inclined to walk. It's just easier to just start walking. And then now, okay, talking, like all, now with all this productivity stuff that we were just talking about, what am I doing? Yes, now I'm layering on. So now what I'll do.
Listen to a podcast while walking, maybe text.
I will. So now I'm on the, so I've got this app. It's like, all these AI agents, tools, etc. So one called Whisper Flow. So I'll talk. So I hate sitting down and typing, especially like big concepts. So I'll speak it out and then it pulls it together really concisely. And then I'll shove it into ChatGPT and clean it up. And then I'll have these like, big sort of strategy pieces like done on an hour-long walk.
That's amazing.
It's good because you're moving.
Whisper flow.
Whisper flow. I love it.
What has been your proudest quiet win? Something that's like not all screaming or dancing that you wouldn't potentially put on a LinkedIn post or press worthy, but something that was like meaningful to you.
That's a great question. I think for me, I often know or feel like I know what the right thing is to do, but I'll seek kind of validation, should we be doing this, et cetera. And, and I think there is method to that and there's a time and a place for that. But that internal kind of confidence of being a leader and, really knowing what's best. So I think, I recognized that about myself like a year ago and the business was, we're at this like juncture of do we continue on what we're doing or do we do something a little bit crazy and nuts? And I knew that we had to do something a little bit crazy and nuts. And instead of like going out and asking and I wanted to work on myself, and be more of an owner of this. And so, I just like, I think did it in a much more grown-up way and pushed the strategy down that direction. So it was a quiet win on personal development, because you're learning how to be a leader, you're learning how to manage stakeholders. And I think I just identified that was something that I wanted to work on and then did it. So that was a quiet win.
That's a good example. I was just trying to think of what mine would be. And I think mine is, you have the idea for the product or whatever. This was something that I came up with at the kitchen table and the rest of it on a drive down to Kent. And the fact that I've got employees and then Kelly managed to, I've employed her. She's on a wage and she's now bought her first house because of something that I thought about, 4 years ago and had the balls and took the risk to do it. You know what I mean? I think that it's not something I'm shout about, but it's something that, I'm proud that she's been able to do that out of something that...
Totally. That's amazing.
A decision that I took a few years ago. Yeah, so I think those are like nice quiet wins, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, quick fire round just to finish now. So what was the last thing you booked on Ruuby?
My 7 a.m. blow dry. And I've got reflexology tonight.
Looks gorgeous. Yeah. Best beauty treatment you've ever had?
I love this, I always talk about this Korean Golgi massage. So it's like this lifting facial that like literally moves your cheekbones from here to here. Obsessed.
Okay, worst beauty trend that won't die?
I hate really bad lashes.
Same.
You know, it's like, but some people,
I can't bear them too. Yeah. And if you weren't building Ruuby, what would you be doing?
Who knows? But I love brand building. I love like I'm actually Penelope, my 4-year-old. I'm like momager building her brand called Swappy Boppy. Shout out Swappy Boppy. It's like jewelry, but like maybe something with kid, like maybe buildings. Like I definitely like running a company, building a brand, but maybe in the kids space.
Nice, very good. I'm sure if you did, Jesus Christ, it would be one to be reckoned with. It would be absolutely amazing. I feel like you could turn your hand at everything. You know what I mean? You've got that great leadership. You know how to hustle. You know how to get things. That's the hardest bit to do. You know what I mean? So
yeah. For sure. Listen, I mean, you like look at you and the amazing, brand that you've built that everyone is totally obsessed with. Like I saw Elle Sera, heard about it 1,000 times before we even met. And it's remarkable, particularly in that space. So
thank you very much.
Yes. We go forward.
we move. Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Venetia.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoyed it. Thank you so much.